Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope all you guys are having a great day. Just enjoying the weather here in Ohio, and this is my review of a knife that has been very popular for quite a while now. This is the Benchmade Bugout. This is the full size. I've previously done a review on Lauren's mini Bugout, but I wanted to bring this one to you. It's slightly different, and I also wanted to highlight a change that I made to this and also talk about the disassembly process because this was the first axis lock knife that I've ever disassembled. So yeah, this is the Benchmade Bugout full size, and let's go ahead and jump into it. So looking at blade steel, I gave this the same ranking as the mini Bugout. I gave it a 7 because this is S30V as well. You can see, is it on the blade? It actually is not on the blade. But anyway, S30V, nice steel, well known, good reputation, good edge retention, nice resistance to staining. So I think a 7 is a fair score. Nothing super fancy, but you know, for any task that most anyone's going to throw at it, it's going to be plenty sufficient. So moving on to the clip, this shares the clip with the mini Bugout. You can see just a simple deep carry Benchmade clip. I knocked the mini Bugout a couple points because the clip gets marked up, gets scarred, just looks a little bit messy. But otherwise, you know, it's a nice clip. Something that Lauren and I did find when we first bought these knives is there was some residue on the underside of the clip that transferred to our clothing when we pocketed the knife or knives. And so I sent Benchmade an email about that. I don't know if it's something that they know about, but it's definitely something that they should be aware of. It's just not a good impression when you buy a brand new knife, put it in your pocket, and the clip starts rubbing black residue off onto your pants or your shorts. So anyway, just something I reached out to them about, so I'll look forward to seeing their reply. But I gave the clip a score of an 8 still. It's a good clip. Lock type, as with most Benchmades, it's an access lock. Pull this back and then just close the blade. This one's really smooth. Sometimes they get caught up around this area, but this one's very smooth. So yeah, nice lock, easy to use, fully ambidextrous. You know, been around for a long time, so no complaints there. Looking at materials, I gave this a score of a 6, as I did with the mini Bugout. I think the materials are nice, you know, nice torque screws, stainless steel. I don't know if you call them liners, but they're like half liners that go surround the access lock essentially. Plastic scales feel a little cheap. That's why I knocked the mini Bugout a few points, which I'm going to do the same with this one. But I mean, overall, materials are okay. They'll be fine in everyday carry, everyday use, but nothing fancy. So I gave them a score of a 6. Looking at size, this is, you know, like I said, the full size Bugout. I don't have Lauren's mini. Let me run and grab that in just a minute. Alright, sorry about that. So here's her mini Bugout for comparison. So you can see here the full size Bugout. The handle's maybe half an inch longer. The blade is almost an inch longer. Wait a minute. I think that's the handle. The blade is about a half an inch longer. The handle is about a half an inch longer. And the full size Bugout is also taller. So you can see here when I position, let me move this down a little bit. When I position the mini Bugout over the full size, it fits inside there pretty well. So yeah, fairly significant size upgrade when it comes to the full size Bugout, but still a good carry size. I'll compare it to the Mannix and the 110 just for you guys as reference. So you can see there, that's the Mannix and then there's the 110. So around the same size as the Mannix, a little bit shorter overall. The Mannix has a longer handle. Blade length though is very similar to the Mannix. It's just this has a longer handle, as you can see, and then the 110 is just longer overall, longer handle, longer blade. So yeah, that's a size comparison for you. In terms of weight, if you've never handled one of these, Bugouts are very lightweight. I think around 2 ounces, maybe a little more than that, and just very, very easy to carry, very lightweight in the pocket, so that's nice. Looking at action, so this one, even when I bought it, I purchased it from a local gun range. It was very smooth out of the box, almost just like this. Flicks right out, can close right up just by pulling the access lock back and giving it a little bit of rest. So yeah, really, really nice action out of the box for this one. So I gave this one a ranking of 9, and that's the same as the 940-1 that I have. I think well deserved. I mean, it was just almost perfect out of the box. Moving on to hardware, this has, I believe, the same hardware as the mini Bugout. Let me double check. So the mini Bugout, yeah, so these are T10s at the pivots, and then I think these are T6s, yeah. Yep, so same hardware as the mini Bugout, and I gave it an 8, so I gave this one an 8. I actually did disassemble this knife. First time I've disassembled an access lock, and it wasn't too bad. There's a little bit of a trick when you're putting it back together. You kind of have to slide the blade in between these two steel liners and then sort of finagle the phosphor bronze washers in there. And the trick is you have to take the pressure off of the blade that the access lock puts on it. So as you're kind of putting that blade back in there, pull the access lock back, and it makes it a lot easier. And I would highly suggest taping the blade if you're doing this. But yeah, pretty easy to disassemble. I didn't have any trouble with any of the screws stripping them out or anything like that. It would be nicer if they were a little bit bigger, but you know, overall good hardware. So I gave it a score of an 8. Looking at the price, I gave this one a bump of 1 point over the mini Bugout. They come in right around the same price, which never really made sense to me. I mean, for this one, you're getting more handle, more steel, just more knife overall. And I just never really understood that. So I gave this a ranking of 5. I think these are still expensive for what they are. I mean, S30V is nice, access lock is nice, but there's nothing really in here that's overly expensive to produce from my estimation. I mean, the handle is just cheap plastic, albeit usable plastic, but it does feel kind of cheap. So yeah, anyway, I gave it a score of a 5 for price. Looking at quality, as I mentioned out of the box, this one had a great action, almost perfect blade centering. When I disassembled it, everything inside looked nice. These steel liners were well machined, well prepared. Nice screws. Clip leaves a little bit to be desired, but it functions well. So I gave this a score of a 9 in quality. So you can see here right now, the centering is a little off. It favors the left, and that's because I disassembled this one, as I mentioned, and Lauren and I actually writ dyed these scales. It was supposed to be a Merlot color, but it turned out more like a deep, like almost Kalamata olive color. I think it's kind of cool. I can compare it. I have a matriarch here. So you can see here, the matriarch on the left is a black FRN. The Bugout on the right is the dyed plastic scale. So you can see there's definitely a difference, which I think is really cool. And didn't turn out to be Merlot like the Exo set that I have. You can look at see the video for that, but you know, I think it still looks pretty cool, and it was the first time dyeing scales, so I'm happy with how they turned out. They look nice and consistent, and it wasn't a hard process. Basically just bring some vinegar and water to a boil, put the dye in, and then let the scales sit there for about 10 minutes. So yeah, But yeah, going back to quality, really nice on this knife. Gave it a score of a 9. In terms of competition, I don't remember what I talked about with the mini Bugout. This one, Hogue makes in collaboration with Doug Ritter. They make a knife that has, I believe it's called the Able Lock. It's like an RSK something or other. I don't remember the full name, but I would say that would be the best competition for this knife. It comes in at a higher price point, but the scales are nicer. I think it has M390 blade steel, so much better blade steel than this. I think it's around $30 more than this knife, around $155, $160. So anyway, that'd be your competition if you're looking outside of Benchmade. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks a lot for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy some football tonight, and we'll talk to you on the next one. See you guys.